आणि इथे आम्ही 5 किलो 10 किलो 2 किलो 1 किलो असं विकतो ग्रेव्ही. बरं. हो चालेल. हो चालेल करून टाक. हम्म. चालेल. बरोबर. हो चलेगा, करता हूँ. आता जमलं तर जॉईन कर. हा पाठवलं ना तुला. बघ ऐक 2 मिनिटं भाषण बघ. ओके ठीक आहे. हो चालेल. हो. हाँ. नहीं अभी जब जरूरत हो. 8 लोग हैं. अभी वो नहीं होगा ना. ढीला नहीं होगा. हाँ ये क्या निकल गया था क्या बाहर. हाँ अच्छा. अब फिर वो उसका कनेक्शन ढीला क्यों है. लाइट नहीं लाइट जो है तो स्पीकर मारता.
जोशी सर नमस्कार. सर झाले जॉईन.
अभी बंद हो. चालू था.
जोशी सर नमस्कार.
उसको भी कनेक्शन ढीला है.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. हम डॉक्टर वंदना भागड़ीकर, प्रिंसिपल महिला महाविद्यालय.
ऐसे चले जाते.
नमस्कार सर. फडणवीस सर नमस्कार.
नमस्कार. आवाज येतोय माझा.
हो येतोय सर चांगला.
विष्णू बहुतेक यायचा प्रयत्न करतोय. त्याची लिंक नाही त्या व्हिडिओची.
नाही चांगला रेडी आहे मी. डोंट वरी.
तू रेडी नाही रे. तुझा व्हिडिओ दिसत नाही आम्हाला म्हणून म्हटलं.
बंद करून ठेवला इकडे. बाकी वेगळे कामं करतोय मी सध्या.
अच्छा ठीक आहे.
तुम्ही हो म्हटलं लगेच ऑन करेन. डोंट वरी.
नाही अरे तू येणार हे खात्री होती बाबा.
नहीं सर आप कहेंगे और हम ना आए.
हो. माझ्या याच्यावर मी टाकलेलं आहे.
वो हटा ले ना वहां से. सोफा हटा के इसको सरका ले. आज 3 बजे शूटिंग है. 3 बजे के पहले ही 2 बजे पहले रेसिपी लगेगी वो लाही की. उसके बाद में पनीर चिली पनीर. ठीक है 3 बजे वो एक्सपर्ट. ऐसे 3 रेसिपी है आज. हाँ नहीं बड़ी तो नहीं है. क्या बड़ी बन जाती है।
माझं झालंय.
नहीं होगा, नहीं होगा, निकालना पड़ेगा बाबू।
YouTube आहे ना?
नाही, unmute झालेला.
म्यूट करू का हे? सुरू करतोय आपण.
ओके.
विष्णुजी सुरू करतोय आपण.
हो चालेल.
ओके.
नमस्कार विष्णू सर.
नमस्कार नमस्कार, काय म्हणता?
मजेत मजेत मजेत. छान वाटतं.
इतक्यात खूप भेट होते आपली.
लवकर
हो,
इतक्यात
चांगलं आहे.
लवकरच भेट झाली.
काय म्हटलं?
चलो, गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन.
गुड
आर यू
मॉर्निंग.
रेडी? स्टार्ट करायचं?
हो येस.
Good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Sampada Naseri, welcome you all for the National E-Workshop on Immunity, a Global Culinary Perspective. For this workshop, we have with us Honorable President of Sri Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Mr. Fadnavis, Principal of the College, Dr. Chief Guest of today's workshop and the inaugural session, Mr. Vishnu Manohar, world famous gourmet chef. I welcome you all for this workshop. We also have with us Mr. Vishesh Joshi, our today's resource person. I welcome you, sir. He is also the judge of the competition as well as the resource person for today's workshop. I welcome you all on the behalf of our college. I also welcome my colleague Dr. Kshama Chauhan, Dr. Meena Kaele, and Dr. Anil Dodewar, who is the IPSC coordinator of this college. I welcome all the participants of this e-competition and participant of the e-workshop. I now invite our respected Dr. Vandana Bhagdikar for the welcome speech. Dr. Vandana Bhagdikar. Thank you, Madam. A very warm good morning to all. Honorable Shri Ravindra Fadnavis, President Sri Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Nagpur. Honorable Chief Guest of today's national level e-workshop, Shri Vishnuji Manohar. Honorable Resource Person of today's workshop, Shri Vishesh Joshi Sir. And faculty members from Department of Home Economics, Dr. Samad Chauhan, Dr. Meena Kaele, Dr. Sampada Naseri, IPSC Coordinator, Dr. Anil Dodewar, and dear digital participants. I welcome you all to this one-day national level e-workshop on Immunity, a Global Culinary Perspective, and also for the declaration of the winners of the national level e-competition on Immunity Booster Foods Recipe organized by Department of Home Economics of our college. Friends, as we all know that in matter of weeks, the COVID-19 pandemic has become a major global human threat. It appears that coronavirus is here to stay for a while as the number of cases continues to climb and the number of locations affecting is widening. With COVID-19 persisting all over the world, having a strong immune system is more important than ever. That's because your immune system defends you against harmful pathogens such as bacteria and viruses that causes colds and the flu. However, it is believed that keeping your immune system healthy can help prevent or reduce your risk of infections of diseases. So adopting healthier habits such as consuming nutritious foods, getting enough exercise and sleep that promote your human health is one of the best things your family can do to stay safe during the pandemic. As per the study, it is found that COVID-19 attacks people with low immune systems and people especially of under and over ages. The immune system is built on beneficial live bacteria that lives in the gut, which protects the human body from various diseases. When the immune system response is low, weak, or damaged, It becomes an open invitation for infections such as coronavirus or other diseases. Until we get a cure and a novel coronavirus vaccine, taking all preventive measures and keeping ourselves healthy and safe is crucial. To help or boost the immunity, the plant-based foods play a vital role by promoting beneficial bacteria in the body. Various vitamins like C, D, and E are investigated to provide important aspects for improving immunity. We have all heard the saying that food is medicine due to their inherent medicinal and healing properties for the human body. The best medicine to protect you from viruses and diseases is the food that you eat. In times of the COVID-19 pandemic, what we eat becomes all the more important. Building immunity and giving a boost to our physical and mental well-being is of the utmost importance in these testing times. Against this backdrop, our college thought of organizing the e-competition and also the e-workshop to create awareness about the importance of healthy diet to sustain in this life-threatening situation. On this occasion, I extend my sincere gratitude towards Shri Vishnuji Manohar for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest of the inaugural session and also for agreeing to demonstrate his culinary skills before the participants. I would also like to thank Mr. Vishesh Joshi sir for sparing his valuable time to judge the recipes. I'm sure that the workshop will definitely be fruitful for your understanding of the importance of immunity to fight against this pandemic. Once again, I welcome you all on behalf of my college and wish you a successful workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your welcome speech. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your message. I also welcome Mrs. Seema ma'am for this workshop. Friends, we are very blessed because we always get guidance and motivation to organize any important events from the Honorable President of Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Shri Ravindraji Fadnavis. He is always there to help us and guide us. I request our Honorable President, Shri Ravindra Fadnavis, for his message. Ravindra Fadnavis, sir.
नमस्कार, मैं आप सभी महानुभावों का इस वेबिनार में स्वागत करता हूं मेरी संस्था की तरफ से। आवाज येतो आहे? आवाज येतो आहे का?
हो, येतो आहे.
येतोय सर, येतोय.
मैं आप सभी महानुभावों का इस वेबिनार में स्वागत करता हूं और विष्णु जी का खास करके, क्योंकि विष्णु जी की वजह से हमारे 4 महीने बहुत आराम से कटे हुए हैं। ना बाहर कहीं खा सकते थे, लेकिन उनके शो दे के घर में हमारा पेट भरता था। इसलिए मैं विष्णु जी का बहुत ऋणी हूं और आप सभी महानुभावों का इस वेबिनार में स्वागत करता हूं। आज का वेबिनार जो है, इम्यूनिटी सिस्टम बढ़ाने के लिए खाने में से क्या हम चूज कर सकते हैं, इस पर आज का ये सेमिनार और कंपटीशन ही कंपटीशन। मैं आप सभी लोगों का यहाँ तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ और इस वेबिनार का और इस ई कंपटीशन का इनॉग्रल हुआ करके डिक्लेयर करता हूँ। थैंक यू once for all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your message. Now, dear friends, we all, I know all of you are eagerly waiting for the, our chief guest, that is Vishnu Manohar, sir. We are privileged to have a world-famous gourmet chef with us as a chief guest for this national workshop, virtual workshop. I take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Vishnu Manohar. Friends, actually Vishnu Manohar requires no introduction. Everybody know him. Sir, आपका सिर्फ नाम ही काफी है. You are so famous. But it is my duty to introduce him officially. So I take this privilege to introduce Mr. Vishnu Manohar, famous celebrity chef of Nagpur city, world famous. He is world record holder chef for the longest stretch of cooking. He heads Manohar Group that has a flourishing catering business in Nagpur, Pune, Aurangabad, and many more cities, and now in US also. Vishnu Ji Ki Rasoi is the very famous chain of authentic Maharashtrian and Punjabi food delicacies in a perfect ambience. His specialized Maharashtrian tadka flavor is highly appreciated amongst food lovers in central India. Sir has written many simple language and easily available on Amazon. You can go and buy his books. It is very nice. He is a versatile person. He is interested in acting. He also worked for social cause. He also an artist. His cookery show on TV channels are very popular. Though he is working in the food industry, he has done in bachelor's degree in fine arts, that is BFA. Sir, we are honored to have you on this virtual platform. I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of Mahila Mahavidyalaya, and I request you to proceed for your interaction and demonstration, live demonstration. Vishnu Manohar, sir.
सभी को गुड मॉर्निंग। और मैं संस्था का आभारी हूँ कि इस टाइप का वेबिनार जो है, अभी जरूरत है इस टाइप के वेबिनार की, और उन्होंने अरेंज किया। और स्पेशली धन्यवाद देता हूँ रविंद्र जी को कि उन्होंने मुझे, अक्सर हम मिलते रहते बट इस बात के लिए मुझे चुना और कहा कि भैया आपको आना है, उनका हक है वो। तो और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि जिस टाइप का कंपटीशन आपने रखा, जिसका रिजल्ट्स मैं डिक्लेयर कर रहा हूँ, विशेष जी इसके ऊपर विशेष ध्यान दें कि काफी सारी रेसिपीज जो है वो बहुत अच्छी थी, और सारी रेसिपीज रिलेटेड टू कोविड थी मैक्सिमम। तो रिजल्ट बाद में देता हूँ, पहले बातचीत कर लूं। और अभी सब्जेक्ट ऐसा है कि आफ्टर कोविड क्या और कोविड में क्या। तो कोविड में क्या, तो आप सब लोग जानते हो क्या हो रहा है हमारे साथ, पर कोविड के बाद किस टाइप की फूड हैबिट्स होगी, बदलनी होगी या क्रिएट करनी होगी, ये सब हमको तय करना है। तय करने से अच्छा मैं ये कहूंगा कि वो अभी ये बीमारी जो है हमें लेके चलना है, और बीमारी लेके चल के घर में बैठना तो होगा नहीं, या खाना बंद है ऐसा भी नहीं होगा। तो इसके साथ हम क्या कर सकते हैं? तो फिलहाल हमने अभी यूएस में हमारा जो रेस्टोरेंट्स है उसमें टू गो फैसिलिटी तो है, बट इसके साथ साथ हमने अभी क्या किया कि बेसिक ग्रेवीज जो है, जो हमारे इंडियन खाने में खाने की जान होती है, जैसे साउजी है, मालवनी है, नॉर्थ इंडियन है, साउथ इंडियन है, इन सबका हम सब्जियां उसमें नहीं डालते हैं, हम बेसिक उनको प्रोवाइड करते हैं, हाफ केजी 1 केजी। तो उसमें किसको नॉनवेज चाहिए वो घर में डाल के नॉनवेज खा सके, वेजिटेरियन चाहिए तो वेज उसमें कुछ मिलाकर खा सके, ऐसा सारा प्रयोग हम कर रहे हैं। तो अभी टेक्सास में हमने शुरू किया, वो सक्सेसफुल हो रहा है। धीरे से सनीवेल में भी हम शुरू करेंगे, और इसी प्रकार हम नागपुर में भी इस टाइप का ये करेंगे। नागपुर है हिंदुस्तान सारे में, जैसे पूना की है, मुंबई में है। तो ये कंपटीशन, इसके अलावा एक और कंपटीशन हमने अटेंड किया, तो उसमें इतनी सारी रेसिपीज हमें मिली कि वो इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग का काम करती है, करेगी। फिलहाल यही है, बट आशा करता हूँ कि नवंबर दिसंबर तक इसकी लस जो है वो आएगी। और सबसे पहले मैं एक ड्रिंक बनाना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है, जो आपकी इम्यूनिटी पावर बढ़ाएगा, और बड़ा सिंपल सा ड्रिंक है। और उसे अभी आप, ये मैं थोड़ा सा कैमरा ऐसे करता हूँ, ये देखेंगे आप क्या क्या है इसमें। तो ये जो है, ये जूस पहले से निकाल के रखा है। ये जूस में है क्या कहेंगे, मराठीमध्ये आंबट चुका म्हणतात त्याला। हा, इंग्लिश नाव मी शोधतो, किंवा कोणा वेळ असेल त्यांनी शोधावं इंग्लिश नाव आंबट चुक्याला काय असेल, किंवा हिंदी नाव। उसके बाद में ये आप देखेंगे तो ये है अदरक का जूस, ठीक है। देन जिंजर जूस है, ये लेमन जूस है उसके बगल में रखा हुआ। और अम्बट चूका के साथ साथ जैसे 50% अम्बट चूका है और 50% जो है, तो मैंने आंवले का जूस लिया है, हाँ, आंवला। तो ये सारी जो इसमें इंग्रेडिएंट्स है वो इम्यूनिटी पावर हमारी बढ़ाएगा। और उसके साथ-साथ मैंने ये इनो का इस्तेमाल किया है। मैं इनो आप ले सकते हो या तो फिर थोड़ा-सा बेकिंग सोडा आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, तो फिर इनो बढ़िया होता इज़िली। वो थोड़ा-सा फंटेसाइज़ होता, वो झाग-वाग ऊपर आता तो बच्चों को भी अच्छा लगता, हम कुछ पी रहे। तो सबसे पहले बना लो इसको और मैं एक काम करूँगा, ये ग्लास जो है इसके ऊपर से ये मैंने लेमन जूस लगा लिया। अब मैं चाहूँगा नमक, यहाँ नमक है भाई? नमक देना, नमक। पीछे। हाँ, इसको थोड़ा फैंटेसाइज़ करने के लिए, बाकी कुछ नहीं, थोड़ा सॉल्ट लेके हम इसको यूँ ये कर दिया, ओके? ऐसे। हाँ, क्योंकि क्या होता है कि जब हम रेसिपी बनाते हैं तो रेसिपी बनाने के साथ-साथ एक बात का हमेशा ध्यान रखिए कि वो रेसिपी दिखने में भी अच्छी रहनी चाहिए, ठीक है? भले पेशेंट का खाना हो बट उसको इस ऐसे तरीके से करो तो कि पेशेंट भी बोले कि यार मैं पेशेंट ही रहूँ, ताकि ऐसा खाना मिले। ऐसे होना नहीं चाहिए, बट मैं एक ये कर रहा हूँ। उसके बाद में ये अदरक वाला जो जूस है मैं इसमें डाल दूँगा, ठीक है? लेमन जूस। इसमें शक्कर का इस्तेमाल नहीं किया, आप चाहो तो डाल सकते हो बट कोई ऐसे ज़रूरी नहीं। थोड़ा-सा मैं सॉल्ट इसमें डालूँगा, नमक। नमक अभी मैंने इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं डाला, कम डाला, वो इसलिए कि ये जो लकीर है नमक की है, माने आप पहला इसका सीप लेंगे तो आपको नमकीन लगेगा, फिर धीरे-धीरे उसका मज़ा आप ले सकते हो। अभी क्या करूँगा, ये इनो तो मैंने खोल दिया, अब ये जो जूस है, ये अब इसमें तकरीबन आधा चम्मच जो है हम इनो डालेंगे, ताकि ये जो झाग है ये ऊपर आने वाला झाग आप देख रहे होंगे, इतने बढ़िया ग्रीन कलर इसके साथ में मिला है और पीने के लिए फिर ये मजा आएगा। और मैं ऐसे समझता हूँ कि संस्था की ओर से मुझे दिया गया, मैं एक सिप लेके आज का जो प्रोग्राम हमारा शुरू है वो बताता हूँ। और ये आपके लिए भी है, सभी के लिए, ठीक है? ये इम्यूनिटी पावर हमारी बढ़ाएगा। सो ये सिंपल सा ड्रिंक है। इसके साथ-साथ जितना खाना आप गरम खा सको ज़्यादा अच्छा है। अभी भी पानी भी इसमें डाला नहीं, नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर का जूस था। तीसरी बात, जितना आप फर्मेंटेड रेसिपीज़ खाएँगे, तो वो ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा। जैसे डोसा है, इडली है, देन हम क्या उत्तपम बनाते हैं, अप्पे बनाते हैं। ये सारी चीज़ें हमारे खाने में रोज़मर्रा की इसमें इस्तेमाल होनी चाहिए। और फिर फर्मेंटेड में जलेबी भी आती है, पर जलेबी के साथ घी भी आता है और शक्कर भी आती है। ये बात ध्यान रखें, ठीक है? डाइट वाले जो कहेंगे कि भाई ये कैसे होगा? तो उनके लिए मैं कह रहा हूँ। और इन बिटवीन किसी को सवाल पूछना है तो आप पूछ सकते हो। विशेष जी, कुछ मन में बात है तो आप पूछिए, ताकि लोगों को और मैं कुछ बोल सकूँ, बता सकूँ। क्योंकि पूरा 40 मिनट्स मुझे ऐसे सोच-सोच के भाषण देने की आदत नहीं, बट कोई बात कर रहा है तो मैं भाषण अच्छे से दे सकता हूँ, ठीक है ना? तर कोणी मराठीत, हिंदीत, इंग्लिशमध्ये काही विचारा, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. आणि नंतर मग मी रिझल्ट डिक्लेअर करतो, मॅडम जेव्हा म्हणतील तेव्हा. आणि आज आपण इथे आमच्या स्टुडिओतच बसलोय. हमारे स्टूडियो में आप हो सभी लोग। ये अभी-अभी हमने स्टूडियो बनाई, किचन स्टूडियो। आणि दूसरी बात, एक और बात ध्यान में मैं देना चाहूँगा कि आप पीछे मेरे कॉपर का ये देख रहे होंगे। मैक्सिमम कॉपर है, उसके बाद में पीतल है। तो इस समय तांबे के ग्लास में पानी पीना बेहतर है। आप जो भी पानी पीते हो, कई लोग पीते होंगे, और जहां तक हो सके तो पीतल के बर्तन में खाना बनाओ, लोहे का कढ़ाई का इस्तेमाल करो ताकि आयरन हमारे पेट में जा सके अच्छे से। तो ये भी इस बहाने में बताना चाहूँ। आवाज नहीं है विशेष जी, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी।
Thank you, sir. It was
हाँ,
wonderful, recipe. There are
या
some questions also, so I am just communicating with you the questions from
जी,
participants.
या
Sir, they have asked green sorrel means ambat chukaka.
ग्रीन,
Sorrel is what?
ओके ओके, आंबट सूखा, क्या बात है, चलो।
And that's the question from participant. And one more question is that पहला वाला deep green juice क्या है? The first one,
ये दिस वन
green juice.
जिंजर,
Is
जिंजर जूस,
okay.
दिस वन इज जिंजर एंड दिस इज लेमन जूस, ओके।
Okay.
एंड इसमें जो है, ये वाला जो जूस है पहला वाला, इसमें जो आंबट चूका, अंग्रेजी में क्या कहेंगे विशेष जी? हाँ, 50% वो जूस और 50% आंवले का जूस है। यदि आपको आंबट चूका नहीं मिला तो पूरा 100% आंवला लिया तो भी कोई हर्जा नहीं, वो ज्यादा बेहतर होगा।
Thank you very much, sir. No, very nice experience, and no, virtually today is looking very wonderful, sir. We will definitely. It's my request if you give some more tips to the participants. So this is a very good opportunity to get tips from you.
मैम, आई कांट हियर यू प्रॉपर्ली।
Sir, can we get some more tips from you? One or two?
नो इशू, आप सवाल पूछते रहिए, मैं टिप देते रहूंगा बनाते बनाते, क्योंकि मैं इतनी सारी टिप्स है, क्या दूं और क्या ना दूं ऐसे होता है, तो आप पूछते रहिए,
One or two from your side.
ओहो, मेरे साइड से अब क्या टिप दूं मैं? यही
One
कहूंगा कि
was okay. One more question. Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt. How to take out ambat chuka juice? That is the question from participants.
हाउ टू
Take ambat chuka juice.
मेक,
Yeah. How to prepare that
कितने
juice?
आंबट, हाँ आंबट चूका धोना है, ठीक है, धोने के बाद मिक्सर में डालना है और उसको घुमाना है, साथ ही साथ आप आंवले का जूस उसमें डाल दो, सो दैट वो उसका जूस निकलने में आसानी होगी, और उसके बाद उसको छान लो, दैट्स इट।
Thank you very much, sir. एक क्वेश्चन मेरी तरफ से कि now is bother about immunity. Actually, it is not new, but COVID-19 it has taught all these things. So, what do you say? How to boost immunity in a simple, regular manner?
ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू ना कि आप इस टाइप का जूस इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, या फर्मेंटेड रेसिपीज आप ले सकते हो, जैसे डोसा है, देन इडली है, देन उत्तपम है, जलेबी मैंने कहा, तो जलेबी आप विदाउट ये भी ले सकते हो, जलेबी क्या यदि शुगर नहीं खाना है आपको, जलेबी फर्मेंटेड आटे की जलेबी, इंस्टेंट वाली नहीं कहूंगा मैं, तो उसमें क्या करते हैं कि मैंने एक छोटी छोटी जलेबी निकाली, विशेष जी आप बच्चों को बताना आपके यहाँ के कि ये छोटी छोटी जलेबी निकाला, और निकालने के बाद फ्राई पैन में बिल्कुल मामूली तेल डालकर उसमें बारीक कटा हुआ लहसुन, बारीक कटा हुआ शिमला मिर्च, देन स्प्रिंग ओनियन, हल्का सोया सॉस, विनेगर डाल के उसको मिक्स किया और जलेबी डाल दिया, और उसके साथ वो सर्व किया, बहुत ही बढ़िया लगी वो, से चाइनीज जलेबी हम कह सकते हैं। और बेसिकली आई एम शेफ, मैं डॉक्टर नहीं हूँ, फिर भी हमारे घर में डॉक्टर है, इसलिए
all of us sitting at home who think are great cooks, I think have to learn that from you, that perhaps somewhere we have to make the small thing healthy, like a everyday thing to be healthy. So could you give us some examples कि कोई बहुत आसान सी चीज है, जैसे आपने जलेबी का बहुत इंटरेस्टिंगली एग्जांपल बताया
जी,
बहुत मानी जाती है कि इट्स बैड फॉर योर हेल्थ, इट्स हाई इन शुगर्स, और कोई मराठी क्विजीन में कुछ ऐसे क्लासिक एग्जांपल्स हों जो हेल्थ के लिए कन्वेंशनली अच्छे माने जाते हैं, लेकिन आजकल उसको और थोड़ा ट्वीक करके कुछ और अच्छा करना चाहिए।
देखिए, जैसे कुड़ीत है, रागी है, और ऐसी जो चीजें लोग खाते नहीं, तो उनको खाने में इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए। तो उसकी इडली भी बनती है, ठीक है, और उसका उत्तपम भी बनता है। हम उत्तपम बोले तो कुछ नहीं, उड़द की दाल और चावल, इसी के आगे सोचते नहीं। तो इस टाइप की जो दालें हैं, उसका इस्तेमाल हम करें खाने में। और जवार है, जवार की बहुत अच्छी इडली बनती है। ब्रोकन व्हीट है, उसकी बहुत अच्छी इडली बनती है, ठीक है ना। तो इस टाइप का थोड़ा आउट ऑफ द वे जाके हम यदि ये करें, सोचे और उसका प्रयोग खाने में करें तो बढ़िया होगा ये।
Chalo. Thank you very much, sir, for your virtual demonstration. Now I know everybody is waiting for the, they want to know the winners of the competition,
ओके,
national e-competition. Sorry, I'm
ओके,
sorry. So we all are eagerly
नहीं,
waiting for the results of the national e-competition on immunity boosting foods recipe. So participants, are you ready? No, raise your hands if you are ready. Okay. Okay. Hold please. Before we go for the results, I want to thank a person who was an eminent judge for this competition, Mr. Vishesh Joshi. Because
क्या
all we
बोला?
know, Vishnu sir know very well, it is a very difficult job to, and this was a virtual competition, so the job was more tough. So I know Vishesh, it was a difficult job, and I thank you on the behalf of my college for the competition. All dear friends, it was truly a national competition. The participants from Kerala, Karnataka, then Goa, Mumbai, Pune, and Amravati, Bhandara, all participate very nicely in this competition. So I congratulate to our college also and all the participants for joining us. Again, I say it was a tough job to do the evaluation of this competition. So Mr. Vishesh Joshi did it very well. I appreciate your efforts, sir, and I request you to please say a few words about the experience as a judge in this competition. I invite Mr. Vishesh Joshi.
Thank you, Dr. Sabradabam. Let me first, at the onset, start with thanking the Mahila Mahavidyalaya. I think it's a great initiative, and it couldn't come at a better time than this, when the entire world is thinking about immunity. The entire world is thinking about how can we make ourselves safer and better. So thank you for taking this initiative. Thank you to Dr. Vandana Bhagdikar ma'am for making this possible. Chef Vishnu Manohar, it's always lovely and energetic to see you. Special shout out to Dr. Sappada Bam. I think throughout this process, she throughout the process was made absolutely transparent and clear. Where it was a digital space and a cooking competition. So usually these two things don't go well together. Usually a big part of cooking is eating, like the proof in the pudding is in the eating is what they say. But it was a big challenge for us that I think Saptabam went all out, where she had to first collate all the recipes. She had to earmark them since it was a blind competition. There was no way I could find out who had made it, and rightfully so. So she went through an extra mile to make that possible. Thank you, ma'am. Kabik, to the judging bit, as I was saying, usually जब हम online space में कोई cooking competition को judge करते हैं, तब हम what do we do is we eat. Like not only eat, but EAT, eat. E stands for execution, A stands for appearance, and T stands for taste. But unfortunately, since it was an online competition, the T was big time missing. So we added two more things and we made it really neat. So the neat was N for nutrition, E for execution, A for appearance, and T from neat was for the textual representation. Since the winning recipes are going to be represented in the magazine, they had to also make sense for the reader. So they had a very interesting passage as a prerequisite for the recipes, where the passage could explain the nutritional benefits of the recipe. So one of the parts. So we had a very neat experience judging it. While looking at appearances, it's very important. Maybe we all come from a generation of Orkut. I don't know if anybody face to face. My mother would insist on picking the phone and calling. I would, plate should not look flat, which angle you take the photograph with. There are various factors, and I'm very glad that there were so many competitors who made an extra effort in even looking at the photographic angles of how to. I'm sure Chef Vishnu Manohar would know that how a plate sells is first with the eyes, nose, and then on the palate. So I think our competitors were, some of the recipes were really, really photogenic. I'm sure you'll all see that in the magazine when that comes out. The execution part is where दिमाग में क्या था और तस्वीर क्या उतरी. Lot of times you have big expectations that मैं ऐसा करूंगा, मैं वैसा करूंगा, but actually जब recipe बनती है then it doesn't look anything. The before after picture जैसा होता है वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए execution में. Secondly, execution में you have to look at what methods of cooking you're using. See, this was a nutrition based competition, so you couldn't perhaps do a deep fried thing. I mean, unless you use a omega fatty oils, etc. That's a different debate. But the method of cooking was also an important parameter, and the execution part. Balance of ingredients is also very important. Of course, the color, etc. comes in appearance. Apart from that, the nutritional facts and how immunity boosting it was and how textually correct it was is what we based on. Another thing, as I said, Dr. Sapta Bam, Naseri Bam had very diligently covered all the names and everything. I wouldn't know. I just judge numbered recipes. So that was one of, I think, the biggest achievement today. Secondly, I consciously made sure that I didn't have any kind of bias, not towards any ingredient. You know, a lot of times people could be vegetarians and they might find, "Arey, main non-veg judge karne ke liye biased hai." Or somebody might not like kaddu, and then I would not look at the kaddu wala sabzi. So you have to be non-biased towards ingredients. I had to be non-biased towards even language use, because there were a lot of recipes which were written in Hindi. There were some recipes written in Marathi. मी मराठी पण चांगलं बोलू शकतो असं मी आता म्हणालो तर माझ्या आजीला फार छान वाटेल. But I'm choosing to speak in English and Hindi because we have a lot of people from down south, and I think in the chat box somebody said that let's make it English, so to speak. So we made sure that we were not we didn't have any prejudice when it came to any language. Also, I think we didn't have any prejudice on any cuisine. While judging, I've made sure that we aren't biased towards Indian cuisine or Maharashtrian cuisine, or so we were as far as possible. I'm sure when the results come out, it will speak for itself. That we were very diligent about keeping these 3-4 points in mind. But apart from that, I once again want to thank the college, Mahila Mahavidyalaya. I think it's a great initiative. Dr. Sanpada ma'am, Dr. Vanna ma'am, Chef Vishnu Manohar, Mr. Fadnavis sir, Fadnavis ma'am is here, namaskar ma'am. And Chawad ma'am, Kelele ma'am, thank you very much. It was indeed a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vishesh. We expect more association with you. Now you are attached with our college. Same with Vishnu Manohar ji sir. We will be in a group and we will do some more ideas. Now the intezar ki ghadiya. I know all the participants, they are waiting for the results. So now I request our chief guest, Vishnu Manohar ji, to announce the result. But before that, I thank all the participants of that competition. Without them, the competition was not possible. The response was wonderfully. They forwarded all. So thank you all participants. And without more time, now I request our chief guest, Vishnu Manohar ji, to announce the results of the competition, sir.
The audio, please.
Before announcing the result, मैं सभी से कहूंगा कि अपने अपने चैट बॉक्स में बैठ के तालियां जरूर बजाना सभी के लिए, क्योंकि ये करने के लिए बहुत मेहनत करते हैं बेचारे. शूटिंग करने के लिए मेहनत लगती है. जो चीजें अब तक किया नहीं वो सभी करना पड़ता है. उसके बाद में विशेष जी का भी बहुत मैं विशेष जोशी जी का ठीक है, क्योंकि उसके पहले विशेष मेहनत हुई थी। तो विशेष जोशी जी को कहूंगा कि इनको भी बहुत मेहनत लगती है रिजल्ट लगाने में, क्योंकि खा नहीं सकते, फील नहीं कर सकते, छू नहीं सकते, उसके बाद बावजूद भी अच्छा रिजल्ट इन्हें निकालना है। और आपके दोनों एग्जाम्पल्स बहुत अच्छे थे। आपने EAT वाला जो स्टार्टिंग में, हाँ बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, आई अप्रिशिएट। एंड चलो रिजल्ट लगा देते हैं। सबसे पहले सेकंड नंबर को अनाउंस करूंगा, सेकंड नंबर। हाँ
As you wish.
हाँ, सेकंड नंबर जो है बहुत पारंपरिक रेसिपी है, ठीक है। और श्वेता खोड़े मुंबई से इन्हें ये गिफ्ट दिया जाता है।
अरे वाह, hearty congratulations, Shweta. Are you there? I congratulate Shweta on behalf of her college and thank you for the
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, we will interact with you.
Thank you, sir.
Stay there.
थैंक यू।
Yeah,
विशेष
yeah.
जी को धन्यवाद दो, विशेष जी को। हाँ
Thank you very much, sir.
अभी तीसरा नंबर हम अनाउंस करेंगे, और तीसरा नंबर जो है मैंगलोर से है। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, और इन्होंने भी लेमन का इस्तेमाल किया था, लेमन सूप बनाया था। स्वाति सोमयागी। स्वाति जी आपका बहुत
Congratulations, Swati. Are you there?
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. We will interact with later. Congratulations on the behalf of our college.
Thank you so much.
एंड फर्स्ट वन, ठीक है। इन्होंने तो कमाल कर दिया, सबसे कमाल कर दिया। आश्लेषा भागवत पुणे से है। इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग नूडल्स इन्होंने बनाए थे, बहुत बढ़िया।
Congratulations, Ashlesha. Are you there? Ashlesha? Hello. Maybe. Thank you very much, Vishnu sir, for seeing the results. Please, we will interact with the participant. We will not leave you now. So now it's time for the interact with the leaders. So Ashlesha, are you there? Okay, we will start with the Shweta. Shweta, hello. Swati, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Please interact with the panelists and participant about your recipe. Tell something about your recipe and your feedback for this competition.
Sure.
Swati?
Am I visible?
No, your video is off. Yeah, now you are visible. Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, hearty congratulations to all the judges and all the dignitaries over there. It was my pleasure participating in this competition, which I had a good experience as well. So when it comes to immunity must be
sorry, Swati, please introduce yourself.
Okay, sorry. I'm Swati, and I'm currently pursuing my MSc in Nutrition and Dietetics from St. Aloysius College, Mangalore, and also I'm working as a freelance nutritionist. Okay, shall I talk about my recipe?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Immunity is something that starts from our gut, as we all know. So maintaining a good gut system is very important when it comes to our healthy living lifestyle. So in orderly, I have prepared lemon coriander herbal soup, which includes most of the immunity boosting foods, such as it might be starting from lemon, coriander, which are very good rich sources of vitamin C, and which helps in building immune system. And likewise, we have a good source of spices and condiments, which is nevertheless, it acts as several nutraceutical properties it has. So which likewise, it will help boosting our immunity system. So nowadays, everyone are fond of kashayas, probably all are including kashayas in their daily diet. So some are, they're not so fond of kashayas. So I thought of making something creative, and I implemented all those spices, herbs, and then lemon, coriander in one form, and I prepared coriander lemon herbal soup. which we should not give compromise towards taste also, importance to taste also. So that was my recipe. Yeah.
It was very nice. It was, only thing is we got so we wish to come to Mangalore and have your that lemon soup. It was very tempting. Thank
Yes,
you very much
definitely.
for thank you very much and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Be in touch through WhatsApp group. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank
Now
you.
it's time for the Shweta Khode Thengdi. Are you there, Shweta?
Yeah.
हाँ.
नमस्ते मैम.
Third.
नमस्ते सर.
Anansa.
मैं श्वेता ठेंगड़ी मुंबई से हूँ. मैं होम इकोनॉमिक्स में गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट हूँ एज नागपुर यूनिवर्सिटी. और ऐसे बहुत सारी कॉम्पिटिशन्स में मैंने विनिंग किया है. मुंबई में भी, अभी नागपुर में भी बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटिशन्स में पार्टिसिपेट भी किया है. और इसमें से ही मैंने बहुत सारी चीजों को सीखा है, उसे ही मैंने आगे फॉलो किया है. अभी आज का जो थीम था हमारा इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग का, उसके लिए मैंने जब रेसिपी चुनी तो मुझे ध्यान में आया कि बहुत सारे ऐसे जो हमारे पारंपरिक डिशेस है जिसमें हम कुछ रिन्यूएट करके अलग अलग रेसिपीज बना सकते हैं. इसीलिए मैंने कुछ अनाज का भी उसमें प्रयोग किया है, कुछ आटों का मैंने उसमें प्रयोग किया है, और लेमन, जिंजर, गार्लिक, ऐसी चीजों से मैंने मेरी रेसिपी बनाई है. इसमें हल्दी के पत्ते जो हमारे लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है. और मैं जिस एरिया में रहती हूँ, पालघर, उसमें बहुत सारा ऐसे पाड़ा बोलते हैं हम लोग, जैसे खेती पाड़ा बोलते हैं. ऐसे बहुत सारे एरिया है जिसमें ये चीजें अवेलेबल हो जाती है. तो मैंने इसी से ही आज जो बनाई है मेरी रेसिपी पौष्टिक पातोड़ा करके, तो इसमें मैंने कुलित का यूज किया है. कुलित हमारे शरीर के लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है. सभी रोगों के लिए ये बहुत ही अच्छा प्रयोग करते हैं हमारे बॉडी में. तो इसीलिए कुलित है, हॉर्स ग्राम भी इसे कहा जाता है, मसूर है, मेथी दाना है, और मोठ है, मूंग है. ऐसे बहुत सारे जैसे अनाज है, और ज्वार का आटा है, नाचनी का आटा है. उसी से मैंने वो बैटर बना के उसमें सब यूज करके मैंने ये रेसिपी फॉलो की है और आपके लिए प्रेजेंट किया है. और आपने उसे बहुत अच्छे से क्या बोलते हैं उसको न्याय दिया है और मुझे विनिंग बनाया है. इसलिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक्स सर. और महिला महाविद्यालय का मैं बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करना चाहती हूँ कि उन्होंने ऐसी कंपटीशन हमारे लिए ऑर्गेनाइज की और हमें इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करने का मौका दिया. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you very much, Shweta. Congratulations again.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
With you. Now it's time to hear from the first, winner of this competition, Ashlesha Bhagwat. Ashlesha Bhagwat, please unmute yourself and on your video. Ashlesha Bhagwat. Ashlesha Bhagwat, are you there? Okay, technical problem. Actually, she has joined. Just now I, sent message to her. She's there, but I don't know. Maybe some due to some technical issues, unable to join. We'll see in the next session also. So it's time to for the warm. Thanks. It was wonderful experience, sir, with Vishnu Manoharji, and I think overall competition you also enjoy this pattern of competition. My hearty thanks to Honorable President of Sri Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Ravindra Fadnavis sir, for his constant support and guidance. I thank you, sir, for your presence and your message for today's workshop. My special thanks to our respected principal, Dr. Vandana Bhagdikar, for her guidance, cooperation, and constant support in all the ventures. Without her support, the competition could not be possible. Thank you very much, you ma'am, for your kind support. When we decided to, conduct this competition, so first only one personality that time, came in my mind. I have that thought in my mind, that was Vishnuji. No, when we decide this competition, so we have thought that Vishnu Manohar should be there, as a judge or chief guest. Sir, thank you very much. Thank you very much for attaching value with us. Sir, you accept our invitation and also demonstrated bravely through virtual platform. It is definitely motivate all the participants. and they also enjoy, and many more questions are coming, so we will forward it to you. So my heartfelt thank to you, sir, this college. Thank you so much, sir. Looking forward to many more such type of, programs with you. Thank you very much. I thank all the participants for their participation. We will be in touch with all the participant through WhatsApp group. Now, at the end of, this is the end of inaugural session. Now I hand over for the next session to Dr. Meena Kaile. I thank you all of you. The next session will, continue. Thank you so much, Dr. Meena Kaile.
Thank you, Sampada. A very good afternoon to all. I, Dr. Meena Karele, again welcome you all for the next session of National Level E-Workshop on Immunity, a Global Culinary Perspective. Now, we will start session, and let me introduce you to the resource person for this session, Mr. Vishesh Joshi. Mr. Vishesh Joshi did his hotel management from India's Premium Institute, that is Institute of Hotel Management, Catering Technology and Applied Nutrition in 2005. Sir flew as a first-class cabin crew with a leading international airline for 6 years, post which he co-founded one of Mumbai's first standalone Japanese restaurants. He also helped in establishing a Japanese food delivery service in Barcelona and Spain. He has worked with various hospitality Guru Nanak Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Studies, Nagpur. He is also a yoga and fitness trainer. My humble request to Joshi sir for his presentation on topic Immunity, a Global Culinary Perspective. Mr. Vishesh Joshi sir. Sir, are you there?
Thank you, Dr. Meena. It was a very illustrious introduction. Thank you. I would like to first, just a sec, I'll share a screen. All right. Hi. A warm welcome. I was just looking at the watch if I should say good morning or good afternoon. So very good afternoon now. It's officially 12. We are here to talk about immunity and a global culinary perspective. I'll try to keep it in English and Hindi and English, a little bit of Marathi thrown in for tempering.
Yes,
just so we could reach to a wider audience. There are a lot of, whenever we talk about immunity, what do you think of? If you could use the chat box and just write your answers and let's make it a little more interactive and fun. When I say immunity, who do you think of? Let's say, who do you think of first? I think of my grandmother. All right? काढ़ा घेर और कुछ सर्दी है बाहर बच जाओ. Yep, there are a lot of these inbuilt, very Indian home-based remedies that all our mothers and grandmothers have been telling us to do from the farthest or the youngest times. It's not a unique concept to India. That's what I'll try to bring in today. That's what today's objective so far is. That if you go to if I'm an Iranian and if I go to my grandmother, I'm sure even she will give me remedies for immunity. So before we get into this, I'm going to take you on a journey to the world. We're going to travel to different countries of the world, and then we're going to understand how their culture is and what kind of food they have been traditionally eating to boost their immunity. But before we go on this culinary journey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first delve slightly into what exactly is immunity. All right. So when I say immunity, it's actually immunity system that I speak of. Immunity system is like any other system in our body. All right. We have digestive system, we have respiratory system. All these systems have a specific function that they do. डाइजेशन खाना पचाता है, रेस्पिरेशन सांस लेने और छोड़ने में ऑक्सीजनेट करता है अपने ब्लड को, सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम ब्लड सर्कुलेट करता है. So the immunity system is a system which fights infections, diseases and other invasions. तो वो किसी भी प्रकार का infection है, it could be microbial, it could be any kind of pathogen based, or any kind of pollen allergies, any invasion. Our immunity system is a system which fights it. All right. You could think of it as two examples that I've given down on the PPT. If you could see down, it's like our immunity system works like an orchestra. Orchestra, आप सबने अगर देखा हो या कभी सुना हो, orchestra में there are different musicians who play different music instruments. So for an orchestra to make a beautiful symphony, it should have all the instruments working perfectly. And it should have all the instruments making the correct kind of noise. If one of them is too loud and the other one is too mellow, then I don't think it would make great music. Similarly, our body or our immune system is made up of different cells, organs, functions, and proteins which actually make these things. And they combine together to form our immunity system. So if by only empowering, या सिर्फ एक फंक्शन पे ध्यान देकर या एक ऑर्गन को देकर पूरी सिस्टम अच्छे से नहीं चलती. So it's like an army of sorts. It's a very cliched example of looking at our immunity system as an army. It's basically a system which is fighting infections, but it is a system, don't forget. It is a network of these organs and cells which come together to fight the immunity. Now, how does it do it? Before we go to how do we do it, it has two parts. All right. The first part is called as the innate immunity. Innate means inbuilt. All right, that's the immunity system which fights the infection. So if there is any kind of pathogen or any kind of pathogen means any microbe, okay, microscopic organism which is bad for you, that's called as a pathogen. So when any pathogen enters, if you see the white guy with a commando scarf on the PPT, he's fighting the pathogen out. All right, so one part of our immunity is to actually fight the foreign bodies, or they flush the foreign cells out. That part is called as the innate part of our immunity. The other part of the immunity is called as adaptive system, where once a foreign pathogen has come, the immunity cells go to it, they understand how this foreign pathogen is, and then they form a memory cell. Now that memory cell lives in your body forever and forever and forever. इसलिए अगर याद होगा आपको या अगर आपको पता होगा, चिकन पॉक्स आपको सिर्फ एक बार होता है, या मम्स आपको गाल गुंडा जिसको मराठी में कहते हैं वो सिर्फ एक बार होता है, क्योंकि हमारी जो बॉडी है वो इम्यूनिटी सेल्स बनाती है, and those immunity cells are part of it becomes memory cells, and they remember this pathogen and remember the way to fight it. Even the big hot topic today is about plasma therapy to fight COVID, or even the transferred immunity, where if somebody has survived COVID, उनके blood plasma से cells को लिया जाता है, उस immunity cells को लिया जाता है, और वो patient के body में डाला जाता है ताकि patient की body उसको fight कर सके. All right. Now, before we come to the culinary side of it, like for example, there are certain things that you can do to improve your circulatory system. There are certain things you can do to improve your respiratory system. Similarly, there are certain things that you can do to improve your immunity system. All right. Now, what are they? Sorry. Was there any?
Oh, so you can continue.
Sorry,
so you can continue.
Okay, sorry about it. All right. So when we talk about immunity and what are the things which will help immunity, so first and foremost, again, it's been, हम ये बहुत बार कहते हैं लेकिन हम कई बार अनदेखा कर लेते हैं. You know, we kind of ignore this and we take our body for granted. हम यही चीज अगर हमारे किसी प्यारे इंसान के साथ हो रहा होगा तो we'll have a big issue. Like imagine if, like, you know, we constantly put our body into stress. And the moment what happens now, how does stress and immunity work? So let's understand it scientifically. You know, कई बार especially dietetics और nutritionists चीजें हम सुन लेते हैं और वो इतने heavy sounding words होते हैं कि हम डर जाते हैं और हम उनको समझते नहीं है और उस पर अंधविश्वास कर लेते हैं. जैसे आजकल like you know, you just blindly follow something. अच्छा विटामिन सी अच्छा है, ठीक है विटामिन सी अच्छा है, वो क्यों अच्छा है is what we must understand, and we should understand it in the most fun way possible, of course. So what happens when you're in stress? There is a steroid hormone called as cortisol. That's the first point in the PPT. So cortisol is a hormone which our body releases, which tells the body to stop all the other not necessary functions so that body could concentrate on stress. Alright, जब एग्जाम्स होते थे आपके 12th का याद कीजिए तो आपको पेरेंट्स केबल टीवी हटा देते थे, इंटरनेट कनेक्शन हटा देते थे, बाकी सब गैर जरूरी चीजें हटा देते थे, सिर्फ खाना को मिलता था और टेबल पे बैठ के पढ़ना पड़ता था. So that's your fight or flight, क्योंकि that was a stressful time. So accordingly, even while doing stress, अपनी body cortisol release करती है, जिसकी वजह से बाकी सारी systems को बोलता है pause. It's not necessary for you to work right now, including our immunity system. So when we are perpetually stressed, then this cortisol levels are perpetually high. हम constantly cortisol levels को अगर high रखेंगे तो हमारी immunity system constantly low रहेगी. So to have our body, the army of our immunity, to be in the fight ready position, it's very important to not have cortisol up all the time. All right, the fight and flight is that instant when you decide in high stress that अरे मैं भागूं या लड़ूं, वो जो एक कुदरती तौर पे, it's a basic instinct so to speak, and that's what the cortisol deals with. And we don't want our cortisol to be up all the time, so our stress need not be up all the time. You should be shanti, relax, take a chill pill, as you say. All right, the second part is good sleep. Again, something that you could have turned around and told your parents. In fact, your parents must have said that to you also, that you need to sleep at least 6 to 7 to 8 hours, depending on what your age is. Now, what happens in your sleep is your body regenerates itself. The immunity cells are actually being born and spread through while the rest of your body is sleeping. So it's very important to sleep well. Exercise is related to the first point. Exercise reduces stress, and hence it is very important. Secondly, it also circulates your immunity cells throughout your body because you're exercising, your blood flow increases. Yoga that way is one of the best ways to boost your immunity because it not works on your physical level, but it also works on your mental level where it de-stresses you, it relaxes you, and it releases these happy hormones. Third is moderate alcohol and no smoking. Well, now I'm not saying this just because I want to sound old and it's very on trend to say don't drink alcohol. But what happens is primarily when you're drinking alcohol, there is certain kind of toxins that you're putting inside your body. So whenever you drink alcohol, post effects, the acidity, so to speak, is what's happening is our body is fighting those toxins. Now, if we keep our army busy with internal wars, then if an enemy attacks, would it be war ready to attack the enemy? No. So if you're going to put our body through constant toxins of alcohol and smoking, nicotine, then our body is busy fighting that, and it won't be fighting the immunity, the pathogens that it's meant to fight. All right. Coming lastly, but not the least, is food. Our favorite companion, our go-to friend when it comes to any of these. Actually, if you're sleepy, you eat. If you're stressful, you eat. Before exercise, you eat. So how does food relate to this is what we're going to come into. A little recap. It's not just now, as I said, सिर्फ मेरी दादी नानी नहीं कहती थी, सिर्फ इंडियन दादी नानियां नहीं कहती थी. वर्ल्ड ओवर जितने कितने एंशिएंट कल्चर्स हैं, उन सभी कल्चर्स में इम्यूनिटी का कंसेप्ट धीरे धीरे डेवलप हुआ, लेकिन जरूर हुआ. Alright, now the first now when I'm talking about the immunity here, I'm talking about the memory cell immunity, यानी ऐसी सेल्स जो जैसे आज हम कोरोना के लिए ढूंढ रहे हैं कि बोन मैरो से एक पेशेंट की सेल्स निकाली, इम्यूनिटी सेल्स, और दूसरे इसमें इम्प्लांट की. तो इसका ये जो वैक्सीन कह लो, तो इसका पहला प्रमाण पाया जाता है किताब फी अल जदारी व अल हसब. That's basically about smallpox and measles that a famous Arabic or Islamic physician Al-Razi had spoken about in the late 19th century. But even I can't say for sure, or nobody can say for sure, that if this is the original first person to speak it. Because what I'm going to tell you next is going to sound a little gross. आपको लगेगा ये ऐसा कैसे होता है? तो क्या होता था? When early China, ancient China, so to speak, some at 1000 AD, जो smallpox जब होता था, तब smallpox के जो lesions होते थे, उनको scrape करके निकाला जाता था, and then people used to give it as a sniff, as a medicine, because the smallpox the smallpox pathogens would then kind of be involved into somebody else's body and fight the pathogens in. तो अभी जैसे वैक्सीन में हम एक स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ पैथोजन डालते हैं जो हार्मलेस होता है ताकि अपनी बॉडी एंटीबॉडीज तैयार करे, वैसे 1000 AD में चाइना में ये होता था. Not just in China, but even places in India, even Ottoman Empire, there was a process called as inoculation, where they didn't inhale it, they poked the skin with those liaisons. All right, so it sounds gross, but many a times medicine could be it's a bitter pill, so to speak. Apart from that, there are a lot of these the traditional Chinese medicines, Ayurveda, and the theory of humors that we're going to discuss once we kind of take our journey right into the world cuisine. Moving on very quickly, I think Dr. Vanna ma'am spoke about this phrase, and it's actually from Hippocrates. He's called the father of modern medicine, and he's very famously said, "Let medicine be thy food, and food thy medicine." यानी जो आप दवाई ही आपका खाना होना चाहिए और जो खाते हो वही दवाई होनी चाहिए. This has been a concept not just in ancient Greece, but I think world over in all ancient philosophies. We're going to learn about it slightly again. Now, I don't want to sound very scientific here, as Chef was speaking about, but like when somebody tells you that micronutrients are good for you, or when somebody tells you, like our winners today, they spoke about how their food had vitamin C and how their food had vitamin D. It's very important exactly क्या काम करता है. All right. So उसके लिए you must understand that the proteins are important for immunity. What do proteins do? Proteins actually build our body cells. So जो हमारे जो body के cells है, be it your skin, be it your inner organs, be it your blood, it's primarily made up of protein or amino acids which come together to form proteins. Immunity cells too are made of proteins. So we must have a decent amount of protein in our diet to fight immunity. Antioxidants. Now, whenever at a cellular level, hamare body mein, whenever some action happens, some chemical action happens, there are free radicals which are removed. Now, those free radicals are not useful for our body. And over a period of time, those free radicals accumulate and they could cause various different harmful effects. So when you have any antioxidant, it takes the free radical and neutralizes. So anything says antioxidant, think of free radicals from next time onwards. Probiotics. I think one of our winners spoke about inner or how our stomach flora fauna is what she spoke of. Well, most of the time, like people say 80% of our immunity is active on our tummies, where the digestion happens. So what exactly happens in digestion is that these complex starch molecules are reduced to small absorbable micromolecules or the monosaturated. What happens is our inner bacteria, the actual microbes living in our tummy, are actually digesting the food for us with us. So when we increase those happy, healthy bacteria in our stomach, they help in digestion better. So anything probiotic. So this could include your fermented drinks, your curd, anything which is pre-fermented. Is actually probiotic, which increase the stomach's flora and fauna. जो हमारे पेट के अंदर एक zoo है, zoo नहीं जंगल है, बहुत सारे microorganisms का, उसको पोषण करने के लिए, जो हमारा actual digestion करते हैं, probiotics are very good. Coming to micronutrients, again, this is something you're going to listen a lot. Whenever people think of immunity, they see, हाँ, vitamin C बहुत important है. Google it now and you'll see vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, but no one will tell you how exactly does it work. So vitamin A, E, and C are 3 vitamins which help formulate our mucus cells. Mucus cells, जो हम mucus बोलते हैं in layman's term, mucus cells coat our esophagus and our lungs. And whenever we breathe through our respiratory system, they kind of block the pathogens from actually being absorbed into our body. I think that's important, right? Part of our immunity. So vitamin A, E, C do that. B6 and B12, or the entire B group of vitamins, function as intracellular functions. यानी सेल जो अपनी है माइक्रोस्कोपिक जिससे हम सब शरीर बना है, उसके अंदर की बनावट, उसके अंदर का फंक्शनिंग करता है विटामिन बी कॉम्प्लेक्स और B6, B12 in particular. D vitamin is very rare to find in food. Sunlight, think D, think sunlight, so to speak. What happens is the fighting side or the innate immunity is actually the T cells which are being released from thymus gland. Now, thymus gland is actually right here, all right, underneath here. The thymus gland has a very interesting part. It kind of starts aging the moment you're born. And by the time you reach 65, the thymus gland is actually not there. And it turns into a lump of fat. That's why if you've heard of people saying COVID mein senior citizens ko bahut dar hai, of course, because their T cells are not being generated. T cells are the ones which are produced by the thymus gland, remember? तो जो आजकल कह रहे हैं कोविड में 65 के ऊपर को एक्टर्स को अलाउ नहीं है, बाहर जाना अलाउ नहीं है, a big part of it is because they don't have thymus glands and they don't produce T cells, which are what fighting immunity. So when we speak of vitamin D, they work with T cells. They are like the friends, with the Jai Viru of immunity. Moving on to minerals, zinc. Zinc helps in the development, like protein does in the help of development. Zinc helps it. Iron, selenium is an antioxidant, and various such other. I don't want to invest a lot of time on this. We are moving on to the culinary side of it now. Immunity boosting food traditions around the world. So now take a little breath because acha dietetic nutrition ka heavy lecture khatam. Actually, we're going to get introduction to these different micronutrients via various culinary processes. Coming up first is the ancient cuisine of Persia, Iran. All right. In Iran, a lot of times हम Indians को लगता है soup याने lemon coriander soup या soup याने cream of tomato soup. याने पतला सूप ही सूप होता है ये जरूरी नहीं है. जैसे हमारे यहाँ की पतली खिचड़ी अगर तुम देखो तो उसको कई culinary terms में और in lot of cuisines, even a patli khichdi could easily pass off as a hearty soup. So in Iran, there is a tradition of having these thick soups called as ash. They call as ash. Now these soups are made with a lot of root vegetables, which are full with vitamin A and C. They're very low on inflation, and they have various antioxidants. All right. So Iran, think of ash. They have a very famous dish called as ash-e-shalgam. So what you do is you take turnips, you peel the turnips up, you chop them into cubes. You take carrots, you do the same treatment to them. A lot of times I've seen even in my own house, when you get mooli, it usually comes with mooli ka patta. Or when we take beetroot, in India you usually don't get the beetroot greens, but in turnips we get greens. So ये जो root vegetables के greens है, कई बार even they are full of micronutrients. So in this hearty pot of soup, what you can do is you can take different types of dals that you have. You can take different types of rice if you have, or millets if you have. Take a big heavy pot, put ginger, garlic, turnips, carrots, beetroots, spinach if you have. Put all of it in, put lots of water, put lots of herbs and spices, cover it and let it cook on a simmer or in a cooker for the long time till it kind of submerge and makes into a nice hearty soup. If you can see the photograph, that's called as ash-e-shalgam. Moving on from what do you call it, from Iran, we're moving on to Russia and Ukraine. Actually, it's Russia and Ukraine basically are not the only two countries where this dish is made, or what I'm going to talk about now. It's actually even Germany or even Bosnia, as I've written in your on the PPT. This dish is very famously had. This is called as sauerkraut. All right, sauerkraut. Sour means sour, of course. Kraut means cabbage in German. So what you do is you take cabbage, patta gobi. It's probiotic. So if you remember when I spoke about probiotic यानी fermented होगा. तो अगर मैं कह रहा हूँ sauerkraut probiotic है, तो कहीं ना कहीं आपने दिमाग में do a 2 + 2 math saying sauerkraut fermented है यानी sauerkraut भी fermented होगा if it has probiotics. So you take cabbage, पत्ता गोभी को लीजिए और उसको बारीक काटिए. Finally chop it and keep it in a big container. All right. Once you've taken it in a big container, take salt. Now, how much salt you're going to take is you're going to take 2% of salt. So if I'm taking 100 grams of patta gobi, I'm going to take 2 grams of salt. All right. So measure your ingredients accordingly. Remember the percentage of sauerkraut is 2%. So 2% of salt, you take the chopped up patta gobi, you take in salt, you crush it, and you make a nice. You crush it as if you're making a dough. जैसे आप रोटी बेलने के लिए जैसे आप रोटी बेलते रोटी like the dough that you make, the dough that you need when you make the roti, वैसे ही salt को अच्छी तरह मसाज कीजिएगा cabbage में. Once that happens, पानी बहुत छूटेगा. जैसे अगर आपने देखा होगा ककड़ी में if you mix in salt, it gives out water. So does cabbage. So when you massage the salt in your cabbage, it gives out water. Then you transfer it in a bowl which is narrow. बहुत चौड़े बर्तन में मत रखिए. In a narrow bowl, put the cabbage down and pour the water on top. फिर जो cabbage का outside पत्ती है उसको लीजिए और उसको ऊपर डालकर उसमें कुछ वजन रख लीजिए ताकि the air is not like the cabbage is not exposed to the air. It's dipped into the brine. जो salted water solution को brine कहते हैं. Alright. अब इसको हम Indian temperature में 3 दिन it should be more than enough. But in Russia or in Germany it can go on to 6 weeks. 3 दिन के बाद आप उसको टेस्ट करके देखना चालू कर सकते हैं. It turns into sour, refreshing, tangy little accompaniment. You can use it in your sandwiches. Traditionally, people use it in hot dogs. So if you have chicken sausages, take 2 pieces of bread, put a sausage in between, put the sauerkraut, and have it. We Indians love to eat tomato ketchup. हर चीज में हम tomato ketchup डालते हैं. But let's move to healthier options when we can include these naturally occurring or easily made probiotic alternatives for a ready store-bought ketchup which is high on MSG. Now this fermenting of cabbage is not unique to Europe. Even in Asia, in Korea actually, there's a very famous dish called as kimchi, which is actually fermented cabbage, which is a photograph down on the right, the red one. The only difference is कि उनमें सिर्फ नमक नहीं डालते. We Asians love our spices. So they add all kind of spices in it. They even add some fermented fish. They add fish sauce. They add chili peppers. They add ginger and garlic. Uski paste banakar they fermented with the cabbage. Another difference between sauerkraut and kimchi is that sauerkraut is shredded. Usko fine कटा हुआ होता है. और जो kimchi है, वो actual लंबे पत्ते होते हैं जिनको it's Chinese cabbage. So Chinese cabbage is slightly long in shape. All right, apni gobi, our patta gobi is round in shape. Chinese cabbage is longish. All right, moving from the kimchi and the sauerkraut world of fermentation to some European love. Now, as I said, पहले ज़माने में जैसे इंडिया में भी unfortunately कोई अंधविश्वासी लोग आज भी भूत प्रेत को मानेंगे. But पहले ज़माने में अगर किसी को बीमार होता था तो कहते थे कि कुछ बाधा डाली है. Or somebody has taken over that person. So it's not unique to India. Even in Europe, that's how people used to look at bad diseases as supernatural forces which did something really bad for the person who is unwell. There was a theory of miasma. Miasma was basically bad air. So जब बहुत लोग एक साथ बीमार पड़ते थे, जैसे प्लेग में होता था, तब यूरोपियन लोग कहते थे बुरी हवा चल रही है, जो हम भी कई बार कहते हैं बुरी हवा है. so that the bad air which would cause people to fall sick was called as miasma. Another thing which is very interesting in Europe, and now I'm going to draw some parallels as we go ahead. यूरोप में एंशिएंट यूरोप, मिडिवल यूरोप में माना जाता था कि हमारा शरीर 4 तत्वों से बना है, ऑलराइट, ब्लड, स्पर्म, येलो बाइल एंड ब्लैक बाइल. In fact, even in English literature, there are different. अगर आप theory of humors बोलते हो या humorous अगर ये word है literature में, it actually comes from the 4 humors. So माना जाता था कि the person who has one of these humors as a strong part becomes or takes the personality of those humors. So you know, don't feel at times we all feel अरे यार अपना Indian culture इतना ancient है लेकिन अभी भी इतना अंधविश्वास क्यों है? The only problem is not with our culture. The problem is what with us, that we've not updated it. Like Europe has perhaps taken some of it and left some of it. We are very hell bent on holding everything. अच्छा हो बुरा हो सब पकड़ के रखते हैं. Don't hoard everything. Take whatever is nice and let go of the bad things. Moving on, France. Now, how many of you have read? If you've read, you can say a thumbs up in the chat box. Chicken Soup for the Soul. I remember me growing up in school, and there was like in college perhaps there was an awkward age where the Chicken Soup for the Soul was like the soulful rendition. जैसे मोजार्ट गाने बजाते हैं वैसे चिकन जैसा फील आता है वैसे चिकन सूप ऑफ द सोल पढ़ते वक्त वैसा फील आता है. वेरी टचिंग स्टोरीज. सो ये अगर आप कोई यूरोपियन ग्रैंडमदर को पूछो कि मम्मी मुझे सर्दी हो रही है या अरे वेदर बाहर बुरा है, तो शी विल से मेक सम नाइस चिकन सूप एंड हैव. Or if somebody is unwell, and if you have any European friends who are unwell and if you're visiting their house, अपने यहाँ पे हम काढ़ा लेके जाएंगे, शायद उनके यहाँ पे वो चिकन सूप लेके जाएंगे. So chicken soup basically, or stewed soup, or poulet au pot, it's pronounced as poulet au pot. It's basically where you take these root vegetables and other vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, phosphorus-rich vegetables with chicken. And you submerge the chicken. जैसे हमने आश बनाया था, आश बनाते समय हमने grains लिए थे और it was a thick broth. जब chicken broth बनाते समय, it's going to be no grains added. It's going to be protein which will be provided by the chicken with tons of water, and let it simmer on a slow pot. There's a concept of bouquet garni in French cuisine where these medicinal herbs are tied in a little potli. And then that potli is put into the stock pot, and then the entire flavors of these soups or the flavors of these herbs would come into the broth. So the next time, if somebody is sick and if you do eat non-veg, don't forget to make a poulet au pot. Poulet au pot. It has, the French sounds so beautiful and romantic. Moving on to Lebanon. Now, there are a lot of Lebanese restaurants world over. Even in India, a lot of metros have this hummus craze, where everybody wants to do hummus. Well, it's good news for us that everybody should make hummus, because hummus is really, really good for your health. When we speak of Lebanon, or if we go to Lebanese traditions, they believe that garlic, for its antiviral property, mint, chickpeas are great source of zinc, magnesium, copper, the mineral-rich grain. Olive oil, again, healthy fats, unhealthy fats, fatty acids, saturated, unsaturated is a gamut. I don't want to dwell in it now. Hummus is one of the dish where you incorporate all of this. तो हम क्या करते हैं, काबुली चना लेंगे, काबुली चने को भिगो के रखेंगे. When it swells up, you take a mixer. It's as simple as that. You take काबुली चना into a mixer भिगोया हुआ. You take til, अगर आपके पास है, just dry roast the til. उसको सूखा तवे पे तहीनी कहते हैं, which actually roasted til which is made into a paste. That also can be a very good sandwich addition. जो अमेरिका में पीनट बटर लोग बहुत कहते हैं, और बाजार में जाओ तो 300-400 का एक छोटा जग मिलता है. It's the easiest to make at home. Just dry roast some peanuts. अगर peanut oil है तो dry roast peanuts में थोड़ा सा drizzle peanut oil का डाल के मिक्सर में चलाओ, and you have great homemade peanut oil. Like India में अगर कोई peanut oil peanut butter खरीदता है तो मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है. You can easily make it at home. You can make sesame butter. You can make almond butter. These all butters are great alternatives for our regular butter. So for our hummus, we're going to take the soaked chickpeas. We'll take olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, take any good grain oil. Even if you want to use your sunflower oil, or if you want to use your peanut oil, that's great too. Take lots of raw garlic, and then you kind of mix it, and lemon, tons of lemon. Again, good for immunity. Vitamin C, zindabad. Mix it all in a blender, make a nice thick paste. If you think it's too coarse, अगर बहुत sides में अगर चटक रहा है और वो it's not fine, it's not forming into a nice smooth paste, add little olive oil more. Kacha oil is like a good oil again, and then blend it together to make a nice paste. अगर आपकी अगर फोड़नी ची पोड़ी खाऊं कंटाळा आला असेल, so you can dry roast the purani roti and make little triangle shapes and then eat it with hummus. You know, easy ways to make innovative immunity boosting foods right at home. Another salad is very famous from Lebanon called as tabbouleh. Now it sounds for Europeans, it sounds very different for their palate, but it's very easy for us. Apni koshimber, it's very similar to that, but lots of dhania. Like imagine like kuchumbar jaise hum ghar pe banate hain. If we take kuchumbar, a maximum ingredient in the kuchumbar is kakdi or lauki, depending on what kuchumbar you're making. Here, the maximum ingredient is parsley and coriander. So it's a herbal salad, again, very good. Third is the Mediterranean. Lebanon comes in Mediterranean. So we moved from Persian to European to Mediterranean. Hung yogurt is basically take your regular yogurt, उसको आप मसलिन क्लॉथ में डाल के टंगा दो, तो उसका water drip out हो जाएगा, और जो बचता है curds, that would be very rich in protein. आप उसमें dill यानी जो सोया की सब्जी है वो मिलाओ, grate करके cucumber डालो, and you make yourself tzatziki. I know it's a tongue twister Greek name. If you're sitting at home, repeat after me. Tzatziki. The first T is silent. You know, it sounds really fancy. If you make tzatziki at home, and if your parents come and say, "Acha, aaj ghar pe kya banaya?" I made tzatziki. They'll say, "Arey wah, bahut fancy hai." But actually, it's hung curd and cucumber salad. All right, not very foreign for us. Third is sorry, I often lose the track of time, so I'm still I'm well within time. If you move to Japan, Japan has a very dear sweet spot for me because I had a Japanese restaurant for a long time, and I'm a personal fan of Japanese cuisine. They are one of the oldest living people in the world, and it's for a reason. They eat lots of, more than the ingredients. The way they cook their food is extremely fantastic. They eat lots of steamed things. They eat lots of raw things. They also eat some fried things. So, they have a very good balance in their diet. It's very important to have that kind of thematic balance in everything. First ingredient we're going to look at very closely is miso. Miso is basically a fermented soybean. Now, it's unfortunately not produced in India yet. So if there is anybody who is listening to this and who stays in the belt where soya bean is produced, maybe you can take up this challenge. There are tons of YouTube videos online, and see the soybean harvest time will come now within, I think, 2-3 months, and you can perhaps make your own miso paste. It's a challenge. It's not very easy, but it's quite delicious, very multifunctional. It's basically you take soya bean, you crush it, and you keep it in an airtight container, और उसको ferment होने के लिए रख देते हैं. So it's actually fermented over a long period of time, and it turns, soya bean से बहुत सारा Asian cuisine का structure मिलता है. Their seasoning is primarily soya based. Their fish sauces would have soya. Soya sauce, of course, comes from soya bean. Miso paste comes from soya bean. Excellent for your immunity too. Seaweed. Seaweed is actually samudra ki weed, so to speak. But the Japanese harvest it. They kind of make the greens from the sea. Again, superb source of vitamins, superb source of iodine and psyllium especially. Very rich in minerals. They used it to roll the sushi rolls. They also eat it fresh as a sabzi. All right. Fish. One of the things when I was judging, there were hardly any recipes which were non-vegetarian. Perhaps it's a very it's a fair concept where a lot of us think that being vegetarian is the only way of being healthy. Of course, kudos, 90% of the people I know are vegetarians. and one should be vegetarian, go for it. I'm not here to speak against, but there are a lot of other parts of eating healthy, which could also include some of the non-vegetarian dishes. So when you think of non-veg, don't only think of sauji and the oil floating on top. Think of other healthier options for eating your meat as well. So fish, if you incorporate fish, it's great for immunity. It helps regulating an inflation. If you're going for fish, try and go for oily fish. So one of the examples of oily fishes that we have in India is the Indian mackerel or the bangra machi that you get. It's a seawater fish. A lot of Indian freshwater fish are oily fish. So if there are any Bengalis in here, give me a hands up in the chat box. But they eat tons of amazing oily fish in their diet. So that's big part of big immunity boosting too. Taking our journey ahead to China. Now, the moment we say China these days, people frown. But you know, it's one of the ancient civilizations which I'm a big. I think I'm more feminist and Gandhian than most of the people I know. And, you know, they usually don't go hand in hand. But I'm a big believer of taking. I'm a true Hindu. I think the Indian philosophy was to incorporate the best from everything. That's how our civilization survived all these years, in spite of so many giants who'd come and looted us and went. But our culture survived because we adapted really well. We always took the best of the visitors that they came to us. We gave them tons, of course, but we also took a lot from them and enriched ourselves. So again, China that way has a lot of these gems, which now the world over takes. Also, when we look at the traditional Chinese medicine, you will be surprised to see the parallels between Ayurveda and the traditional Chinese medicine. And remember the theory of humors. Later in the PPT, I've given a pictorial representation of how ancient cultures, the medicine was comparatively at par. They all had same philosophies about our body and how to holistically heal it. Matcha, coming to China, is one of the green teas. Now, we all drink tea, lots of tea, but fundamentally the tea we drink is the black tea. Now, the moment I say black tea, you all will say, "Nahi sir, hum to usme doodh mila ke peete hain. It's not black." Well, I'm not talking about how you make it, but how you process it. तो जब टी लीव्स के पत्ते होते हैं, जब हम उनको तोड़ते हैं बगीचों से, then उनको पहले सुखाया जाता है. They're withered. Okay, that withering process, when it stops there and then you package them, that is green tea. When you let those leaves ferment, then they become black tea. So in India, most of our teas, Assam tea, Darjeeling tea, are all black tea variants, and they're fermented tea basically. लेकिन जब ये चाय के पत्तों को फर्मेंट नहीं किया जाता और तब उनको सिर्फ ड्राई करके विदर करके पैक किया जाता है, then that becomes green tea. तो आप असम टी का भी ग्रीन टी पी सकते हो, बस फर्क इतना होगा कि वो असम की पत्तियों को हमने फर्मेंट नहीं होने दिया. या तो आई वुड स्ट्रांगली सजेस्ट, आई डू इट एट माय होम, कोई भी लोकल चाय वाला अपने सिटी में देखिए, जो यू नो द शॉप जिसमें चाहत सा दुकान, ऐसे बोर्ड बहुत ही इंडियन स्टाइल में, नो फास्ट, बहुत ही सिंपल, लोकल, गो लोकल वाला फंडा, and go to them and ask them if they have any green tea, not just, or any Darjeeling tea which is not fermented. Have a conversation with that gentleman, get to know about teas, educate yourself and go a little out of the box. Drink your tea, but maybe have an Assam tea for once, may have chamomile tea once, have masala chai the other day, mix and match. Matcha tea is basically green tea which is made into fine powder, and there is a lot of desserts and other things are made with matcha. Ginger garlic is a big part of Chinese cuisine. Shiitake mushrooms are very healthy. They come in packets also. Nowadays, you get the dried shiitake mushrooms. So you just kind of put them in hot water, keep them for a while. The supper, like how we do the chana, we kind of soak it in hot water. Similarly, you can soak up the shiitake mushrooms. You can get them in majority supermarkets. They kind of, they call it immunomodulating. They almost modulate your immunity. They're that good. A lot of Chinese herbs in the traditional Chinese medicines are considered to be immunity boosting. Ginseng. So if you see the photograph down of the weird looking root falling off the bowl, that's actually ginseng. It's a type of root. You can use it in your kadhas, etc. A lot of Chinese traditional recipes use a lot of ginseng. In traditional Chinese medicine, you're gonna like get to know a little basics when you move to the next slide. Before that, the concept of protective energy of our body is called as Wai Kui in Chinese. So if there's a Chinese grandmother, she'll say, "Arey, तुम्हारा IQ ठीक नहीं है." जैसे आज की grandmother बोलेगी तुम्हारा IQ पे खराबी है. The VQ is basically your inner ability to fight the disease, according to the traditional Chinese medicine. Moving on to some basics, I don't want to go in great detail because, to be frank, I'm not a big expert of. I don't even like. I don't advertise it. I haven't experienced it, but I know of it. So it's interesting to know that, especially to draw parallels between Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. So there's a concept of Zhang Xiang. Repeat after me. It sounds fun. Zhang Xiang. So, perfect. So Zhang Xiang is basically how our inner body is and how it's externally represented. So the inner part is Zhang, and Xiang refers to the external appearance. So just symptoms दिखते हैं that Xiang, the inner state है उसको कहेंगे Zhang. Now Zhang is actually consisted of two things, Zhang and Fu. So all our inner organs are divided into two parts, Zhang and Fu. Zhang parts are those parts which kind of transform and store energy in our body. So the heart, lungs, spleen, liver, kidneys, they kind of transform different things in our body and they store energy. And Fu elements are the ones which kind of take or receive, transport, and transform water and food. So are basically digestion related. A lot of organs are called as Fu organs. They include our gallbladder, stomach, large intestine, small intestine. So the next slide will see how these two are related, the Zhang and Fu. Apart from that, of course, the cliched yin-yang representation of China, जो sign होता है yin-yang का, Chinese believe that the world is divided into two parts, male, female, good, bad, and they both are intrinsically linked together. Like both of them can't exist without each other, and they both form a complete. So that's there. And 5 elements, I'll come to that. Even in India, we have 5 elements, Pach, Bhuti. So again, Ayurveda, 5 elements. I think it's a concept shared by all ancient traditions. Now, this is the pictorial representation of it. The Pach Bhuti is fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. The yin yang is the black and white, which is in the center. And the qualities that the 5 attributes are related to in the Chinese traditional medicine. And the yin is representational of the Zhang, and yang is representation of the Fu. So the fire element, the Zhang element, the Zhang organ is heart, and the Fu organ is the small intestine, and so on and so forth. So they find their remedies according to this flow chart of sorts. Moving on to South America. A lot of times, us Indians, even those who have traveled abroad, we've been to Europe, we've been to America, but a lot of times we forget that there is a continent called as South America. It is one of the most populous continent today. The second number of COVID cases are from South America. So it's important to know their cuisine as well. They have these berries called as acai berries. All right, they look like jamun. जो आप नीचे देख रहे हो, those are called acai berries. They're extremely high antioxidants, and they're like the big superfood. Like अगर आप यूरोप में या पेरिस में जाओगे कोई हेल्थ फूड क्रेज के रेस्टोरेंट में, तो आपको acai bowl जरूर मिलेगा. So what they do is they make porridge और acai paste करते हैं और porridge बनाते हैं और उसको mix करते हैं और top करते हैं fruits and herbs के साथ. So you can do it at your homes as well with all of these Indian substitutes. You can take oatmeal. Oatmeal को तुम दूध या पानी में रात भर भिगो के रखो. By the time you wake up in the morning, it's nice and soaked and ready to eat. उसमें आप इन berries में से कोई भी एक berry का juice करके, juice यानी crush करके उसमें मिलाओ, or then top it with any of the nuts that you have. Especially the Brazil nuts are great for selenium content. If you don't have Brazil nuts in India, you can easily get walnuts. Walnuts also are a great source of selenium. So you can take mulberries. Mulberries are shatut. They look like raspberries actually, slightly longish. We have gooseberries or amla. Of course, amla for this recipe might not work. Then you have Cape gooseberries. They're these really beautiful looking orange fruit with a brown covering called as raspberry. Anyone from North India would know what raspberries are. In India, even in Nagpur, we get raspberries when they're in season. Then we have jamun, of course, the very often neglected superfood of our India. I think 10 साल I think 1-2 साल में West को जैसे हल्दी के गुण पता चले, वैसे जामुन के, I think jamun is the next food which is going to hit really big in the Western market soon. Kyunki haldi is really trending. Like if you go to any restaurant space, the haldi lattes are. I'm going to come to it when I come to the Indian slide. But I think jamun could be the next haldi of India. Brazil nuts, in fact, as I spoke earlier, I have a photograph of Brazil nuts next. They grow on these tall trees और नारियल जैसा fruit दिखता है बाहर से, सूखे नारियल जैसा. And if you see, there's a small hole also like a नारियल has. And inside there are these awkward looking berries जो flesh में होते हैं, जिनको सुखाते हैं, and you crack them open and you get these big nuts called as Brazil nuts. All right, you can roast them, you can crush them, you can make their pesto. In India, I haven't seen them in a lot of stores, but some multi-speciality stores which import goods, you get canned Brazil nuts these days. But they're roasted and salted. They could be good too. Don't fret if you don't have it in your place. You can easily substitute it with walnuts. Walnuts are again a great source of psyllium. Coming to India, and I think I'm overshooting my time. I've just knocked my 45 minutes. So I won't take a lot of time with India because I think all of us have great source of information at our very homes. And our Prime Minister is supporting this concept of Ayurveda and healthful conditions really beautifully. You have amazing wealth of knowledge on the internet. Just few things to specify and reiterate. Go haldi. Haldi has to be incorporated. And don't, unfortunately, our Bollywood has, or even us, we have kind of have a roadblock about haldi. Ki bimari aane haldi ka doodh. Or the taste, the misconceptions of haldi taste that's come into. Like the entire Western world is waking up with haldi latte. They woke up to chai latte. We must own up to our local ingredients and take immense pride in it, because we don't have to wait for the West to make our haldi cool and then for us to drink haldi. In fact, it should be the other way around. We should be really imbibing our local ingredients and local spices and take a lot of pride in it. Like in our competition, the lady who would come first, unfortunately, she couldn't speak. She couldn't connect in. But she had taken an interesting twist on a global dish. She had taken noodles, which she had actually incorporated a lot of Indian flavors to it, Indian grains that she had made a flour of and made handmade noodles at home. She pictured and documented it really well. She marketed it very well too. And I think that's where she stood out from the rest of the competition. Her step-by-step recipes were really standing out. So our moong again is so often neglected. In China, they use moong quite a lot. In fact, there is no English word for moong. It's actually called moong. It's as Indian as it gets. So there is no there is no ambat sukha ka English kya hai. There is no English word. Moong is called as moong. So we should take pride in these spices. Like our country was known for its spices. There were times जब peppercorn में लोग currency की तरह use करते थे. I think with the pandemic now, we should realize the actual value of it is actually could be measured in money. It's actually so closely related to our health. Our Indian spices should not be neglected. We should be the biggest brand ambassadors of our own indigenous products. Ayurveda, of course, the bala and the vyadhi kshamata. Vyadhi kshamata is your inner body's capability of fighting the foreign invasion. Can you tell me the Chinese equivalent of vyadhi kshamata? Anyone in the chat box? I just told you in the 3 slides back. It's Weng Hui. Okay, the inner spirit of fighting is in our Indian concept. It's called as vyadhi kshamata. Ojas is actually the nutrient, the kind of the sour of our food, or the actual beneficial part of our food that we kind of get. So in our the new age dietetics term, it could be the the smallest element of carbohydrates, or the what our body breaks into. So the actual energy which kind of comes out of our food is called as ojas. So when Ayurveda concept, we constantly work on improving the ojas of our body, and that's where it fights against immunity. Now again, there are these quick, easy recipes. I'm almost to the end of my presentation. There are these quick to fix recipes according to Ayurveda. I don't want to go in much detail into this because they're easily available online. Just that you could start off your day with some kadha. You can take tulsi. All of our households have a tulsi plant. A lot of us might have pipli. In fact, there is in my house we have a. I was making this presentation and my mother was like, "Oh, I know that plant. That pretty looking plant at the down where the small pipli is coming. Oh, pipli, आपल्याकडे आहे." I didn't know this. So, by making this presentation a few days back, I realized, okay, we have it. So I could start imbibing that into my life too. So, there are a lot of these local herbs and spices that we can make a kadha of and start our day with. Turmeric, let's just imbibe turmeric in our lives. Let's just imbibe black pepper in our life. Anything that you could use chili in, you can easily use black pepper. So a lot of times we use lots of chilies in some gravy. Try making your gravy with black pepper instead. That's how our traditional Indian people would eat it, because chilies were actually imported from Portugal, if you remember. Ginger garlic again, ashwagandha, very nutritious. Avla. Today, Chef Vishnu used avla juice. Words aren't enough to describe the beneficial effects of avla. And it's little tarty. So, while growing up as children, we have this notion कि नहीं आवला खूब अम्बट है, तो आवला बहुत खट्टा होता है, मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. Lekin, if you include it very intelligently in your child's meal, or even in our own meals to begin with, I think it could go a long way. Lastly, drink tons and tons of warm water. Water flushes our body. It helps our immunity, gives it the playing ground to fight the infections. This is the comparative chart that we often think that we are very different from the world, but we all are one human race. Especially this pandemic age, we should all say Jai Jagat as much as we say Jai Hindustan and Jai Maharashtra. We all humans. Let's celebrate our humanness. Our ancestors thought in the same lines. Our doshas, or the 5 elements of China, or the 4 humors of Europe, we kind of grew up very naturally. Let's not divide ourselves. In this pandemic, I think let's take this as a sign of some higher power to make us realize we don't need these other distractions. Very simple things in our life could actually give us great satisfaction. And the key takeaways, what the cuisines that we went through, we kind of found out that what all was in it. So vegetables, roots vegetables, green leafy vegetables, broccoli. I didn't include broccoli in today's presentation because none of the traditional recipes had broccoli. But again, broccoli is one of the very good immunity boosting ingredients. Red bell peppers, high in vitamin C. So if you have other vitamin C intakes, it's okay. If you don't go for fancy vegetables because it looks fancier in nutrition. You say, "Hey, broccoli khana hai." No, there are a lot of Indian alternatives which are as healthy. Fruits, of course, lots of citrus. At the moment, we're talking from the Orange City, though it's a national workshop. Imbibe your local fruit. Have tons of local berries, herbs. Not just the Western herbs, but our Indian herbs too. Like how many of you knew that the dill herb that we speak of in the continental cooking is actually sula. Sula की जो सब्जी बनती है, नॉर्थ में मेथी सूला की सब्जी बनती है, सूला की भाजी बनती है, but it's actually used as a garnishing herb in the West. We actually make a full sabzi out of it. So let's look at the various herbs also. Basil, for example, tulsi. You can make sauces, paste of it. Turmeric, cloves, cinnamon, cumin, various nuts. So after coming through this high-flying journey of the world, let's come deep within ourselves and let's think of incorporating some element of immunity in our regular diet. You know, no one's telling you to go on a strict immunity diet. If this competition had anything to go by, and I'm sure when you read the recipes, they were a lot of these interesting spin-off on a classical and making it great for immunity. So with this, I think I've come to the end of my presentation. I hope you kind of had some takeaways. I hope I didn't take too much of your time, and I'll stop sharing this.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us very important information about immunity boosting food. सर, आपने हमें जागतिक खाद्य सफारी में लेके गए और हमें बहुत मजा आई. We enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Ashlesha Bhagwat is there. Ashlesha,
Yes,
are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, yes.
Good afternoon, all the judges and the delegates. I am Mrs. Ashlesha Bhagwat, working in Regent Health Club as a dietitian in Pune. My recipe for the competition is immunity booster noodle. I would like to share some insights regarding my recipe. The peak eaten items during the lockdown was maida noodles and pani puri. These foodstuffs are not at all good as far as nutrition is concerned. So searching a good nutritive alternative was a paramount importance. Basically, the uniqueness of the recipe lies in the enhancement of the immunity, giving a healthy effect, and the ingredients required to prepare it are very flexible. That is, if some ingredients are not available in the lockdown, it doesn't affect the taste. This recipe makes a wonderful wonder for people of all age groups, starting from children to the old age, even for the diabetic, BP, heart patients also. Immunity building during COVID has two important prospects. First is building the general immunity, and second is ORAC, since COVID is a respiratory disease. ORAC stands for Oxygen Radical Absorbance Capacity. Many herbs, spices, fruits, and veggies have a high ORAC value, and henceforth, many spices were incorporated in the noodles. It also has an additional benefit of being constituted by high nutritive value, as it contains carbs from the jawar, nachni, and rice flour, proteins from eggs, paneer, or soya, and many veggies, spices, herbs provide micro and macronutrients like vitamin A, B, C, iron, calcium, zinc, etc. Cooking time was just 25 minutes, and the cost of preparation is very reasonable. It was a great experience participating in this competition and very apt for the current situation. The participants were from different regions of the country. Thank you to Sri Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Nagpur for arranging this unique workshop and competition. Thank you so much. And my thanks to all the judges. And जोशी सर, तुम्ही खूपच छान लेक्चर दिलं. मी लॉकडाऊन मध्ये पूर्ण वेळ अशा कुठल्या तरी एका छान लेक्चरची वाट बघत होती. थँक्यू सो मच वन्स अगेन. थँक्यू सो मच मॅम.
Thank you so much, Ashlesha, and big congratulations to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any question? Any queries? Any queries from participants?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, from my side.
Okay, okay. To welcome the guests and to propose vote of thanks is our Indian tradition. So, to propose formal vote of thanks, I hand over the mic to Dr. Kshama Chauhan. Dr. Kshama Chauhan.
धन्यवाद मैडम. आज के इस वर्कशॉप में समापन हेतु हम आखिरी चरण में आ पहुंचे हैं. हमें अपने योगदान के उपकृत जिन्होंने किया उन सभी का मैं धन्यवाद देने हेतु यहाँ पे उपस्थित हूँ. इसके पहले मैं एक 4 लाइन कहना चाहती हूँ. आओ हम सब मिलकर करें यह निर्धार, यही कोशिश करेंगे हम बार बार। प्रतिकार शक्ति बढ़ाने वाला बनाओ आहार, जिससे हम करें विविध रोगों का प्रतिकार। सर्वप्रथम मैं श्री विष्णु मनोहर जी ने जो प्रमुख अतिथि के रूप में हमें महत्वपूर्ण मार्गदर्शन किया एवं रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर करने के बाद सहभागियों को प्रोत्साहित किया तथा एक विशिष्ट इम्यूनिटी ड्रिंक बनाकर हमें जो महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी दी, इसलिए मैं उनकी महाविद्यालय की ओर से हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। हमारे द्वितीय वक्ता जो थे श्री विशेष जोशी, आपने इस कंपटीशन का जज के रूप में जो कार्य किया तथा आज के इस कार्यशाला में हमें पूरे सभी देशों की सैर कराई, वहाँ के सारे विविध इम्यूनिटी सिस्टम के बारे में बताया तथा रेसिपी भी समझाई। बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मार्गदर्शन आपने इस प्रेजेंटेशन के माध्यम से किया, इसलिए मैं आपकी भी महाविद्यालय की ओर से आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। हमारे संस्था के अध्यक्ष माननीय श्री रविंद्र फडणवीस सर, उद्घाटक के रूप में आज इस कार्यशाला में आप उपस्थित रहे, इसलिए मैं महाविद्यालय की ओर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य डॉक्टर वंदना भागड़ीकर, इनका हमें सदैव मार्गदर्शन रहता है, उनका भी मैं गृह अर्थशास्त्र विभाग की ओर से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। अश्लेषा भागवत, स्वाति सोयनका और श्वेता ठेंगड़ी, आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन एवं आपने अपनी बनाई हुई रेसिपी के बारे में महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी दी, इसलिए आपका भी धन्यवाद। इस प्रतियोगिता में जिन जिन प्रतिस्पर्धियों ने सहभाग दिया, उन सभी का अभिनंदन करती हूँ, क्योंकि आप अगर भाग नहीं लेते तो शायद हमारा ये प्रोग्राम और अच्छा बनाने हेतु तो आपका सहयोग बहुत महत्वपूर्ण था। आज के इस कार्यशाला में उपस्थित सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का मैं महाविद्यालय की ओर से आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। डॉक्टर अनिल डोडेवार सर, आपने जो टेक्निकल सपोर्ट हमें दिया, इस कारण मैं आपका भी धन्यवाद अदा करती हूँ। गृह अर्थशास्त्र विभाग के इस कंपटीशन एवं कार्यशाला के आयोजन हेतु डॉक्टर संपदा नासेरी तथा डॉक्टर मीना कालेले मैडम ने बहुत ही परिश्रम किए, इसलिए आपका भी अभिनंदन करती हूँ और प्राचार्य के अनुमति से यह कार्यशाला का समापन हम करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, ma'am. Vanna, ma'am.
धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you, sir. Joshi sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.